Hello and welcome to the latest of my deep dive videos. Today I'm going to give you, I hope, some searing insights into what is set to be one of the most powerful months of year 2023 so far. It begins with the Sun in an exact conjunction with the retreating Mercury, known as Cazimi. But we have lots of exciting things this month. We also have the lunar eclipse across the 5th and 6th, depending where you are, in a conjunction with Uranus. We have Jupiter powering its way into the sign of Taurus. And of course, the sign of Taurus is very much to do with money, and Jupiter can be to do with fortune and expansion. What's the implications of that? We have Mercury going direct on the 15th, but doesn't come out of shadow until the 31st. We also have the arrival of Mars in the sign of Leo, but it is going to go face to face with the potent energies of Pluto. That's an incredibly highly charged combination. What can we make of that? But also, we have a new moon which occurs on the 19th, which is supercharged by the vibrancy of Mars just before it makes its way into the sign of Leo. So there's just so much to share with you. It's really, really exciting. If you are a returning visitor, thank you so much for joining me once more. If you're new here, it's great to have you with us. I'd be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. And also, if you'd like to get your free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning, I've been writing these for about 28 years. Please see the subscription link below, completely free. And if you'd like to have a one-to-one with me, please see my testimonials below. So as this month begins, we have the Sun, Mercury in its retrograde in the sign of Taurus, along of course with the North Node and Uranus. Now, as this month draws to a close, the North Node will be inversing in the sign of Taurus further and further into its preparation for its move in the month of July into the sign of Aries, which in itself is very exciting. But on the first day, with the Sun combining with Mercury's retrograde, but in such a tight embrace, what is the likely implications of that? Well, I feel during the first 3 days there can be a lot of talk around everyday finances, the cost of food, food distribution and so forth. That just seems to be absolutely inevitable. But of course, Mercury retrograde can cause some glitches, and so anything we're buying online, we need to show a lot of precision and care right throughout this month, really. I feel that's really important. But I think it's also key to remember that Mercury retrograde gives us an opportunity to approach things with a revised and fresh eye. So there may be something that we can recogitate in some kind of way that actually can be very positive for us. The 5th, however, does see that lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio is, of course, about depth, and it can be about revelations and secrets. And something could come into the open around finances, particularly to do with famous people. You know, the classic offshore trusts that conceal so much money from taxation. That kind of stuff is something that we could see a lot of extra emerging stories over the following 6 months, because Uranus is the planet of truth, and in the rather resistant sign of Taurus, it's pushing all the time for some kind of renewal or new way of approaching how we consume resources, but also how we manage our everyday money. So I feel that the full moon in Scorpio could see some revelations. The revelations could also be around famous people's sex life as well. So we may see some more lawsuits in that regard. Now, on the 7th, Venus makes its way into the sign of Cancer. Venus here is very nurturing, and it's a great time to think about the way that we can redecorate or perhaps add to a member of the family for those who wish to do so. But also for some people it may be the desire to actually move altogether. But Venus, of course, is a sign of money as well as relating. So if we think about home finances, domestic finances, greater cooperation around that area can help to reduce the load on maybe one or two people. If you are on your own, it may be that by connecting to others immediately in your environment, there is some sharing or caring that can go on in a really nice way. Now, pretty well through the whole spine of this month, Jupiter and Pluto are going to be in a square. And I think this is one of the most important parts of this month. Now, initially, of course, Jupiter is going to be in Aries and Pluto just in that first degree of Aquarius. And obviously they become exactly aligned later in the month on the 23rd. So that's going to be a big moment. But if we think about Jupiter in Aries, it's very gung-ho. And the energy of Pluto in Aquarius is very much about the collective. So I feel that we just have to be aware that we could encounter someone this month, or more than one person, who's very intent on getting what they want despite how it feels for the rest of us. So I think that's something to be conscious of. But Mercury going direct on the 15th and Jupiter going into the sign of Taurus on the 16th could be a good news story, particularly as the new moon on the 19th in Taurus also forges a sextile to Mars itself in Cancer. So at that middle part of the month, we are being asked to use our passion, Venus and Mars, around our feelings, but then the emphasis from that new moon perhaps can see a shift. We could see some shakeout around inflation figures. Now, obviously, Jupiter is going to go retrograde in September, which could slow down the economic part of our situations. But there's been such an increasing cost. I think this month could give us some kind of a recovery, or if there is going to be some kind of revelation around financial instruments that have been used without our knowledge to do trades that, if in some way, have destabilized the financial system. I feel that lunar eclipse probably could be what triggers that kind of situation. But if we can get through that, and there are different views on that, I feel that collective of energy around the middle of this month can be very supportive and helpful. The 20th, however, sees Mars move its way into the very charismatic sign of Leo. If you're someone who likes performance, likes to socialise, you play an instrument, or you like amateur dramatics, you could really shine in the last 10 days of this month. But immediately it is in that very direct opposition with Pluto. In fact, across weeks 2 and 3, within 3 degrees, they are in the tete-a-tete. Because these two planets are the rulers of Scorpio, once more we have that scorpionic energy that comes from the lunar eclipse working its way into this month. So I feel that Mars and Pluto are very much about desire, and through the sign of Leo, Mars is very much about instant gratification for us, the individual. Pluto's asking us to regulate that in terms of how it impacts on others. So I feel there has been quite a lot of a divulgence that's gone on in recent years, and those that are better off have a narrative running that does seem to be very unaware of how it is for many other people. I do mean many. So I feel that we could see a lot of strident sentiments being expressed on either side. And once the sun moves on the 21st into Gemini, it actually forges a brilliant link to Mars, newly arrived in Leo. So that can be a very sociable part of the month for sure. And also the sun forges a brilliant trine to Pluto. So there could be some big transformations. There could be a lot of information being shared that actually gives us some uplift. Maybe there's going to be some pushback against some of that perceived entitlement. Some would even say sheer greed of a select part of society. Also, from the 23rd to the 29th, Venus is forging a link with Uranus, which is really pushing us to review our relationships and to check they are truly authentic, not just in terms of getting along in a pleasant way, but there is that spark, that real connection. That's going to be interesting too. And then in the last 10 days, we do have a clash between Mars and Jupiter. So my word, there's some really heavy stuff pulsating around this month, that's for sure. The good news is that Mercury finally arrives out of its shadow on the 31st. Now that began on the 7th of April, the pre-retrograde shadow. The 21st of April saw the retrograde itself begin. On the 15th of this month it ends, and the shadow period unwinds fully on the 31st. So I think that's something to really be very hopeful about, and to understand what this means for your zodiac sign in much greater forensic detail, please see the link beneath this video where I've done a deep dive for each of the 12 zodiac signs. Now, because I've been really pushed for time over recent months, I had to do it like I usually do my weeklies, with the overview, then the snippet. But it will be back to normal service for June, so please stay with me for that. If you would like to understand the power of astrology in your personal situation and ascend above your zodiac forecast, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can produce for you your life roadmap report. This will help you to understand the patterns that repeat in your life. Some of these are giving you real opportunities, and you may well be working with them extremely successfully. But also, maybe some more negative patterns keep coming up, and a more intimate knowledge of these can help you to grow beyond the control that these can have over you. Also, my special package of 30% off, I produce for you your 12-month forecast, again totally unique to you, which can provide incredible insights for the months to come based on your personal astrology. If you don't know your time of birth, I've produced a new set of reports based on your sun as the ascendant, my solar charts. If you really enjoy watching your YouTube videos based on your zodiac sign, these will really work perfectly well for you and really help you to time your moves the best you can. Please see below to order from my store. It's been a pleasure being with you. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do like, comment or subscribe.